begin.
I would like to talk about 4 teachers: my mom, Betty Lindner, my dad, Jack Lindner, athletics, and my high school sociology teacher, Robert Morrison. What I learned from my mom was how to be constructive when faced with a problem, a detour, a perceived setback. An example of this was when I was a fairly accomplished junior tennis player, and I decided to play in a men's tournament. I was 16 and I had won a number of tournaments as a junior. I came up against a very experienced left-handed tennis player who must have been about 35 years old. He had a wicked left-handed serve, and I just did not know how to react to that serve. And he would serve and volley, and I just couldn't get my racket over the ball to have it dip at his feet. And I lost the match decisively, 6-1, 6-love. And I was so demoralized. The emotional wind was taken right out of my sails. I wanted to throw my rackets away and never play tennis again. My mom took her time, waited for me to cool down a bit, and then came into my room and said, "Kenny, let's figure out what the constructive solution is here. What's the constructive path?" And she said, "It looks like you don't know how to play against a left-handed player, a really good one, who's got a very effective serve." So she said, "Let's take you to a left-handed coach who can help you get the footwork and adjust the way you play, the way you think, so that you're much more comfortable playing a left-handed player." We did that, and I would get coaching from him every week and practice what he gave me to do in between times. A year later, I wound up playing the same person in the same tournament, but armed with a much stronger arsenal of weapons. I wound up beating him 6-2, 6-3. And I was elated. That night, I could not have been happier. But when the dust settled, I thought about it, and I realized that I found a constructive solution to a problem that gave me the opportunity to get a victory I never would have gotten. So I learned so much from that. One, there are no failures or setbacks if you learn from them. But the key that my mom always taught me is, when faced with a problem or an issue, figure out what the constructive solution is. And since that day, I've tried to be an incredibly constructive, effective, constructive decision maker. So I owe that to my mom. My dad always treasured his physical health. He always got his sleep. He was an athlete. Whether it was raining or snowing in New York City, he'd always walk for a mile or two, no matter what. He'd always walk in his job. He'd always get up and walk around. He always got a lot of sleep. He treasured his well-being. My dad started as a stock boy in a department store chain in New York City, wound up becoming executive vice president, and they let him go because they thought, he's 66, time to retire him. But because my dad was in really great shape, he had many more things to accomplish. Well, at 69, he got hired by somebody who he trained as a buyer trainee years earlier, who had become the chairman of the board of Marshall's department store. He called my dad and said, "Jack, you know what? I want you to come and train my new buyers for this company I'm about to start called TJ Maxx." Well, that call started a legendary additional 30-year career. My dad worked until he was almost 99. And the reason he was able to do that, obviously, he had good genetics, but the other part of it was he treasured his health. He kept himself healthy. He worked at it. He was disciplined. And I learned that from my dad. Athletics have always been an important part of my life. They took me from an overweight, insecure, clumsy young man to one that felt accomplished and confident. And the life lessons that I learned on the athletic field were far more valuable than anything I've ever learned in a classroom. How to be disciplined. For example, practicing every day. For example, when I'm playing a tennis tournament and I'd be traveling and they'd have all these dances or go out on a boat or do something fun, I know that I'm somebody who needs 10 hours of sleep. So I was disciplined enough to get my sleep, not go out till 2 and 3 in the morning if I had a 9 o'clock match. And it gave me the opportunity to play my best tennis the next day because I understood what I was there for. I was there to win the tournament or to win the match, not to go out. I've learned that I've learned how to keep my poise when I'm losing a match, no matter how intense the pressure or how loud the noise. I'll make sure that I think clearly and never lose my poise. I've learned how to continue to assimilate information when a match isn't going well for me, how to learn what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, and how to be better, how to evolve through a match. That's the recipe for the way I live my life. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How can I be better each day? How can I be more sensitive, more empathetic, more caring? So I can go on and on about the things I've learned on the athletic field. Those things have been invaluable to me, and they've been invaluable to me with regard to how I counsel my many clients to choreograph their careers and make their best life choices. The fourth person I just want to mention is my high school sociology teacher, Robert Morrison, who saw the best in me, saw what can be in me. And until that time, I was a very unaccomplished student, but he saw that I had potential. And because of his belief, because of his encouragement, I began to evolve, to grow, to be confident, to be a hungry student and student of life. So I owe so much to Mr. Morrison because he believed in me before it was fashionable. Those are the 4 teachers that I so thank and have played such a valuable part in my life.